Hey guys, Stephen from FSM RX, and I'm here today with Keegan Martin, who is the leading coach now, is it?
Yeah, seminar staff lead trainer and director of education for the Brand X method.
So for most people already know what Brand X is. The Brand X method is the world leaders in kids and youth development, strength and conditioning, and Keegan has been a part of it since, well, when I did the seminar, when you first did the other seminar in England, you were over, you, Connor, and one of your friends, and Duncan were over, and I think you were just 16.
Yeah, I was probably just starting out, so like my background with functional fitness and how I got to be a coach and lead seminar staff trainer, when my parents developed the original kids course and the original content and all that good stuff, I started jumping in when I was 10 years old into doing functional fitness and really training. And just kind of fell in line with them teaching the courses and all that stuff. Obviously, I was the demo person since I was the only person around to show stuff. It was me and my brothers, and so we kind of did that together. And then as time went on, it just kind of turned into, hey, Keegan, you had a lot of good points to add after the course on this class. Why don't you try and teach one? Yeah. And then I taught one, and got hired and started traveling around the world to do that. And then as we kind of branched off and our focus shifted from competition and getting kids moving to what is the best thing that we could possibly do for kids and how do we get kids to move well, that's when I shifted, and I had done over 200 courses before, so it just made sense to kind of have me lead the way on these ones. And
how old are you? 24?
I'm 24 now.
So at 24 years of age, you've got more experience and worked with more high-level coaches than most coaches out there, including myself, who's like 10 years or older. Well, 12, what was I then? How has, from such a young age, been a part of Brand X and been in that kind of, just having that surrounding you, made you, like, firstly a better coach, and just as a person doing this type of training and building up mentally, and just as a person, just how you've developed as a youth into an adult, and obviously a dad as well, going forward?
So I think, and it's a good question. I think honestly that's like probably one of the questions that people ask me a lot. Is how has it developed you more as a person, and people tend to be more concerned with how it's made me as a person rather than just a coach, which is cool. I think starting with that hard one first, me as a person, I think, having those opportunities and, meeting such high-level coaches and being able to interact with them and all that good stuff, certainly that has helped my coaching career, but it's given me a platform to learn things that I couldn't have really learned elsewhere. If that makes sense, like growing up inside of a gym, nowadays, like, and I tell people all the time, life is easy, especially for kids. They're growing up in a world where they've got a computer at their fingertips, and any bit of information they want is right there. And I kind of grew up with that. Anything I want in terms of food or water, it's right there too. You can order it to you directly. And so now I think, life has gotten really, really easy, and the gym gave me a platform to learn how to work hard, and how to set goals, how to achieve those goals, and it just it gave me as a person, it gave me the platform to learn things that I would have never have had without it. And so that's really what I think the biggest effect that the Brand X method has had on my life is that, it's kind of shaped me as a person because it's taught me all these valuable life lessons that are so hard to find in the world today.
And that would lead me on to obviously the next thing. So as you said, it's building, we talk about resilience in the seminar, kind of mental toughness, just the ability that, like, stuff, it won't always go your way, and hard work pays off, and hard work is part of life, which is a huge aspect in youths that needs, like, as we keep seeing it's declining and like companies like the Brand X and other companies that are trying to offset this. As a coach working with kids and teenagers and other different ages, and you get different variables for each class you teach, what would be the biggest takeaway personally for you as a coach? So, like, what keeps you excited about coaching? Because you've been a coach now for
10 years.
10 years, so it's a decade of coaching, and like, statistically, I think coaches or personal trainers last about 4 to 5 years before they get disillusioned and then leaving the industry or financially, or just can't get clients, and it's everyone else, not them. But yeah, what would be your kind of takeaway from working with? What's the value that it gives back to you? It keeps you inspired to get up every day and
passion for me. Like I love training kids. I'm even more passionate to teach people to train kids.
Yeah.
So for me, the biggest passion that I have is having the broadest impact.
Yeah.
You know, I can go out and I can physically help all the kids in my town, but it's a small town, right? Unless I go into the city center somewhere in this giant city, like I'm never gonna make a big impact just on my own.
Yeah.
So having a broad impact is really just that to me is my passion. I think personally, like working one-on-one with kids, seeing them achieve something outside of just their success in the gym has been huge, right? Like, yeah, it's cool when if they PR their deadlift, I'm stoked for them, you know? Like, and you build a good relationship with the kids. I'm sure you have it too.
Yeah.
You know? But when they come back to you, having learned, you know, the things I talked about learning myself through the gym, having learned something along the lines of how to set a goal, you know, and then how to achieve that goal. Like, hey, coach, you know, a 16-year-old kid comes up to you and says, hey, coach, you know, I saved all my money from my job that I've been, you know, riding my bike to after leaving the gym, and I got my first car.
Yeah.
You know, like that type of thing, that's super cool to me. And like having the ability to impact how they view hard work and how that applies to the rest of their life, to me, that's...
Right, it's a huge learning curve for kids, and the gym is rebuilding that, and because as you said, they get everything too easy. Well, a lot of children get everything.
It's just potentially, right? Like you have the potential to do things so much easier.
I totally get that. I understand that a lot. I think that obviously what you've done and what you've said, and we've seen it as well, is that kids, that when they understand that hard work will pay off, and when you do hard work, like it transcends into everyday life, schoolwork. And like as you said, like it's like if you want to save up, or you just things that we wouldn't necessarily be coaching, but they can take
things that have left our society as a whole. Right, like 100 years ago, you couldn't do that. You couldn't just call up the pizza guy and go, hey, you know, I want a medium and bring a Coke too. You know, like you can't. But today, that's so easy. And I mean, we were made to actually move. You know, we were made to learn through moving, and I think kind of the removal of that from the society has made everything so much easier. And it's about to be 10 times worse. You know, like we're gaining ground in the technological world, and I think as much as we can combat that with these things that kids can't learn, the better off we are as coaches.
And I like the idea, because it actually used to be my slogan in my emails, is to impact as many people as possible in a positive way. Then I realized it's a very long slogan, so now we just do this. It's easier on a t-shirt as well. But that's
a good mission, right?
Yeah, like, it's a really, really good mission.
And it's a mission that a lot of people, I think, are missing today. And I think that's why, you know, you talked about coaches dropping out at like the 4 or 5 year mark. I think they lack direction. I think a lot of people get into this industry and go like, oh, you know, I'm going to train people and they're going to get big, or they're going to get this, or, you know, they're going to get really strong, or they're going to get lean, and they're going to do these shows. You know what I mean? And then they get 2 years into it and they're like, well, I'm not passionate about this at all. You know, they don't have a direction. They don't see that they're creating a big change inside of people through doing that. But, you know, one of the things I think as well that's really helped is the fact that, you know, kids are still young. They're still developing. And if you change a kid's life at a young age, right, like by the time they're 30 or 40 years old, they're a completely different person. Right? And so having a 40-year-old come to you and coaching them, like, yeah, it's great, getting them to move better. But you can change them as a person, I think, and I still believe that, but you can't shape them as a person.
Whereas a kid,
you can mold what their entire personality looks like, you know. And I think that's pretty powerful as a coach too. You know, and you talked about like mental health, right, and building resilience. That's definitely a part of our program. Making sure that you know, things like depression, anxiety are at least on our side from the physical world being combated. That's a huge part of our program, and I think in the States at least, you know, things like that are all on the rise.
Yeah, same. Like anxiety in kids in Ireland is huge, and even like you could like Aisling down there, like she's a teacher and she's dealing with this on a daily basis, and it's like they're blaming the schools, they're blaming the parents, they're blaming it's like it's. I think that it's as the kind of led to it earlier, and I'll use it. They're softer.
Yeah.
Humans as a species are getting really, really soft because we're not doing, as you said, where we're designed to move. If we weren't designed to move, we wouldn't have movable joints.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that like that going forward, and that's why Brand X and all like like Stand Up Kids and stuff like that. These are all big things that need to be pushed harder.
Absolutely.
And obviously with seminars, like there's 30 people downstairs, they're going to take all this information away
and then
do
impact
more.
as many kids as they can, right?
But not only you obviously traveling the world doing Brand X and doing amazing things with kids and teens, you also have elite power building, which is your own. And like if you haven't seen Keegan squat, like he's pretty, he puts up some good numbers. And that's an online program. Do you train people in-house and then you have online as well, or is it just basically an online program?
Yeah, so I do both.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So I am a personal trainer at our Brand X Method, the lab. Yeah. So I've got clientele there, and usually that takes up the like vast majority of my day, right? When I go home in the middle of the day, a personal trainer's always got middle of the day off, which is pretty cool, right?
Especially with a kid.
Yeah, especially with a kid. So my wife goes to work. You know, she gets ready in the morning when I'm with my first clients. I usually try and train then, and then I get home and I've got my kid for the whole day, which is awesome. You know, I get to spend a lot of time with her, so that's cool.
And that's one thing that I love is that there's like times like every Tuesday I get a full day with my son, and it's just me and him. I'm getting to do stuff. I get to dress him, which Susan doesn't really like. Yeah. But he's always wearing an FSM hoodie. Yeah. Or like my dad's cool top or something. But yeah, that's a really like there's positives to working the shift work for gyms.
Yeah. I mean it's hard, right? Like you go home, you got to take care of a kid and then go back to work. Sometimes with the kid, right?
Yeah.
And so like doing that, when I'm home, usually I'm with her, just kind of following her around the house, and that's when I'm online programming too. So as much attention as I can give every 10 minutes or whatever, I just sit down and I program something out. So all my clientele they're both in-house and online. But the EPB program, the Elite Power Building program, is funny. Like it goes back to me and a buddy actually started it together. He was on my my CrossFit Regionals team. We had trained together for 2 years, and we were really enjoying that together. And then he moved. He ended up moving. So he moved out of San Diego, and he moved back. When he came back, he was huge. He was like 265. He's a tall dude. He's like 6'4". Okay. So like he can carry that weight pretty easily. But I gained a lot of weight too. I went from like 160 to 210. Yeah. So I gained a pretty decent amount of size from stopping high intensity work and just focusing specifically on my power lifts. And we met up one time and we were like, hey, let's get a workout in together. Kind of like old times, but let's do what we're what's your training look like? And so it just turned into this, like, we're both powerlifting and doing some bodybuilding accessory after. Why don't we start something together? I've got a lot of outreach as far as people I've coached in the past and, people that have trained at courses. So why don't we just kind of make this thing and we'll see how many people we can reach. And it's been cool. And I think, like people always ask me, well, like, what is elite power building? Yeah. It's the fraternity of swole. That's what it is, right? So basically, it's like it's this frat group of dudes that just want to get huge and strong, and it's awesome. It's exactly what it sounds like. Like inside of our Facebook group, it gets like pretty gritty. Yeah. I'm probably making it sound worse than it is, but like the dudes in there, like they give each other tips. I mean, obviously the coaches get on there and give tips too. But there's video review. There's weekly workouts for them to follow. We have personal programs as well. So if somebody doesn't want to follow, just the general plan, they can hop on a personal plan too. Yeah. But just this year, we've seen, 70 people hop on the program.
That's awesome.
And stick with it. Our retention's super high, which is something that we're really proud of. But it's been pretty cool to just kind of get this group of guys that are really intense about getting stronger.
Stronger.
Yeah, which I think kind of lends itself to some of the qualities that we talked about earlier. Yeah. And I think are really important for especially young men.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So what's to wrap it up, this podcast? What does the kind of future hold or plans, if you can indulge, or let us know. Do you have like what's going on? I know Brand X is going to be becoming stronger and stronger. But what would be your hopes over the next, say, what are you looking forward to, let's say, next year or two?
So in the next year or two, obviously, the Brand X method's my main focus. And it always will be. You know, like I said, that's my passion, right? Training people to teach kids. I think that has the broadest reach for me in terms of my potential to impact kids, but also like our world as a whole. So for me, that's what I want to put my focus to. You know, I want to see the courses grow so that we're having almost one every weekend, if not one a weekend in the next year.
Cool.
I want to see us churning out trainers, but not just, you know, pumping trainers out. I want us to have quality trainers. You know, and that's one of the biggest things about the Brand X method is that we stay on top of our quality control. You got
mentoring.
You get mentorships every single month, if not a couple times a month. We look at, you know, your videos, all that good stuff, and make sure that you're on track with everything that we preach. We don't just let people
do their own thing.
Well, we don't let people pay us and then use our name. You know, we found that doesn't work out well for building a brand. What works well is making sure that people are doing what you actually believe in. So growing it, obviously, making it as big as possible. The IF3, now we're partners with them, so that's obviously going to get a lot of exposure, and you at FSM are going to get some exposure from that too. So
looking forward to that.
I think it'll be pretty cool just watching what happens this year, because we've seen it happen before, and we know where we're at in terms of the flywheel spinning. So
cool. So guys, if you want to check out Keegan, I'm gonna link. It's okay to link your Instagram.
I'll link
your Instagram. I'll link his Elite Power Building site. So if you're interested in getting strong and swole, what's the
Fraternity of Swole, baby.
If you want to join. I'll give you the links down below, and give us a like and a subscribe. And Keegan, thanks for being on the show.
For sure.
All right, dude.
Thank you.
Cheers. All right, cool.